So the thing that sort of inspired me was I'm a huge fan of Janusz Kaminski and his work with Steven Spielberg, and I read an article with him a long time ago when he was doing Catch Me If You Can, and he said that on that movie, Spielberg said he wanted it to feel more romantic, like a glass of champagne, and that's kind of what I had in my head when I was trying to shoot the rom-com stuff. I wanted it to be a little sparkly and a little bit beautiful. Not a little bit, a lot beautiful, more beautiful than I'd normally go for. I would normally strive for more naturalism. And, like I said, I have been slapped on the wrist many a time for making everything way too dark. But for the rom-com stuff, I wanted it to be bubbly and beautiful. And I just wanted some of that beauty to then travel through into the horror world.
Yeah. That is such an evocative phrase. I want it to look like a glass of champagne, because that could be interpreted so many interesting ways,
Yeah.
Especially like me being a dumbass immediately goes, oh, glimmer glass. That's how they advertise it.
Right. So like in practice, what that meant for me on Hard Eyes was, if I'm looking at one of the cast, instead of keeping the key light all the way over to one side so that half their face drops off in shadow, which is what we did on the night work, I was bringing that key light closer to the lens so that it would start to fill in more of the shadow, or what would traditionally be the shadow side of the face. It means you get two catch lights in both eyes, and it would just wrap way further around the face than you'd normally do on a drama. When we then do the night work, that same idea of that big soft key light gets pulled back to a side position, or sometimes a sort of a three-quarter back position, depending on how much you want it to wrap and how many eyes you want to catch. And sometimes, depending on the shot, you might, I'd be playing with that with Sam, with the gaffer, going, okay, if we bring it just another tiny bit this way, it'll just catch the second eye, but it won't fill in the shadow side of the face. Or sometimes you'd say, screw it, we don't need the second eye, we can just have one eyelid.